Daily routines of people who live past 90. Have you ever looked in the mirror and asked yourself, where did all that time go? Not just the years you can count on a calendar, but the mornings you rush through without noticing the sunlight warming your window, the evenings where you scrolled until your eyes stung, the meals eaten so quickly you can't even remember the taste. Maybe you've had those nights when the world is quiet and you're alone with yourself. And this thought sneaks in. Am I really living? Or am I just moving through the motions? You think about the dreams you once had, the books you wanted to read, the places you wanted to see, the version of yourself you thought you'd grow into, and then you feel it, that unsettling whisper in the back of your mind. What if I'm wasting my life? What if I run out of time before I even begin? And then you hear about people who live past 90, not just existing but living, laughing with friends, tending to their gardens, taking slow walks at sunset, holding great-grandchildren in their arms. They're not superheroes. Their skin is weathered, their hands are lined, but their eyes shine with a kind of light you recognize instantly, the light of someone who didn't just survive the years but savored them. And you can't help but wonder, what did they know that I don't? What choices did they make that carried them this far, this well? Because let's be honest, you don't really want just more years on the calendar. You want years that feel alive. Mornings where you wake up with energy instead of exhaustion. Evenings where you share a meal with someone you love instead of eating in silence. Days where peace isn't something you chase, it's something you live inside of. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Living past 90 isn't about luck. It isn't about fancy supplements, extreme diets, or punishing workouts you secretly dread. It's about something far quieter. It's about the ordinary moments, the choices you repeat so often, they stop feeling like choices. The daily rhythms, that, layered over years, become the shape of your entire life. And those small things? They're not small at all. They are the difference between a life that burns out too early and a life that stretches on gracefully, beautifully, almost effortlessly. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to step inside the lives of people who live past 90. Not to put them up on a pedestal, not to treat them like some distant curiosity, but to use them as a mirror. Because their routines, those little things they do without even thinking, hold up a quiet truth about life. A truth you and I often forget in the chaos of deadlines, bills, and endless distractions. As you listen, I don't want you to just nod along like you're hearing fun facts about longevity. I want you to imagine yourself inside these routines. Picture what it would feel like to wake up the way they do, to eat the way they do, to move through a day at their pace, in their rhythm. Ask yourself, what if I borrowed even one of these habits? Just one? What would change in me? Not 50 years from now, but tomorrow morning. Would I wake up lighter, calmer? Would I finally feel like I had a moment of peace before the noise of the world crashed in? Because this isn't just about aging. This is about how you live today, right now. In this body, in this moment, in this fleeting life that will be gone faster than you think. And I promise you, by the end of this, you won't just see aging differently. You'll see living differently. You'll see the extraordinary hidden in the ordinary, and you'll realize the kind of life you dream of isn't somewhere far away. It's waiting quietly in the routines you choose, day after day. Section 1. The morning ritual. Picture this. It's 6 a.m. in a small village in Okinawa, Japan. The air is cool, the roosters are crowing, and a 92-year-old woman named Misako is already awake. But she didn't wake up to an alarm. She rose naturally with the rhythm of the sun, while most of us drag ourselves out of bed, already thinking about emails, stress, and the day's problems. She opens her sliding door, lets in the morning light, and stretches her arms slowly toward the sky. Her body bends easily, like bamboo, even though it has carried her through nearly a century. Her first thought isn't about bills, deadlines, or what's trending online. Her first thought is gratitude for another sunrise, for another day of breath. Now stop for a second and ask yourself, how do you begin your mornings? Do you lunge for your phone, flooding your brain with everyone else's noise before you've even remembered your own name? Do you gulp down coffee just to feel alive, rushing out the door without once acknowledging the miracle that you woke up? It's not your fault. We live in a culture that worships urgency. But the people who live past 90, they worship something else. They worship rhythm, balance, the slow unfolding of a day instead of a frantic sprint. The lesson of the morning, centenarians across the world share this pattern. They wake with nature instead of alarms. They move their bodies gently first thing, stretching, walking, gardening. They eat simply, often a bowl of rice, some vegetables, maybe green tea. And here's why this matters for you. Think of your life as a book. Every morning is a brand new page. If the first words you scribble on it are messy, frantic, filled with panic, the rest of the chapter is doomed to carry that energy. But if the first words are calm, intentional, filled with presence, then the chapter unfolds in a completely different way. That's what these 90-year-olds know. Mornings set the rhythm of a lifetime. So ask yourself, tomorrow morning, will you open your day like an alarm machine? Or like a human being, awake to the miracle of being alive? And that's just the morning. But the truth is, their secrets stretch across every hour of their day. How they eat, how they move, how they rest, how they connect, how they find meaning. And once you see it, you'll realize longevity isn't something you chase when you're old. It's something you weave into the fabric of every ordinary day. Section 2. Morning Rituals. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this. It's early morning in a small hillside village. The air is crisp, carrying the faint smell of wood smoke and dew. A 94-year-old man named Antonio steps out of his stone cottage in Sardinia, Italy. His back isn't perfectly straight anymore, but his movements are steady. He doesn't rush. He doesn't stumble. He walks with the kind of grace that comes from decades of simply living in rhythm with the day. Antonio doesn't reach for a phone. He doesn't drown his body in caffeine to shock himself awake. Instead, he lifts his face toward the sun as it rises over the hills. He takes a deep breath, one of those slow, grounding breaths you probably haven't felt in a long time, and then he begins his day with something so ordinary, so small, yet so powerful. He moves. Not a workout, not a punishing routine designed to burn calories, just movement. He bends down to feed the chickens. He waters his garden. He picks up a handful of herbs for breakfast. His body is not a machine to be whipped into shape. It is a companion, and he treats it as such. Now pause and think about your own mornings. How do they really begin? Do you lunge for your phone before your eyes are fully open, scrolling through other people's lives, while yours hasn't even started? Do you silence your alarm 3 times, then stumble out of bed already behind schedule, already stressed, already wishing the day were over before it's even begun? Most of us treat mornings like a problem to solve, something to get through so we can reach the important parts of the day. But the people who live past 90, they treat mornings like a ceremony, the opening notes of a song that will play all day long. The common threads across the world, in Okinawa, in Nicoya, in Ikaria, elders past 90 start their mornings with remarkable similarity. They rise with nature. Their bodies follow the sun, not the alarm clock. They move slowly, gently, intentionally. A stretch, a walk, tending to animals, sweeping a floor. Their exercise is simply woven into life. They begin with gratitude, a whispered prayer, a bow to the sun, a quiet thank you for another breath. They eat simply, a bowl of rice, some vegetables, tea, bread drizzled with olive oil. Nothing extravagant, nothing rushed. It may look humble, even boring, but these routines carry something most of us desperately crave: peace. Why this matters to you. Here's the secret. How you start your day is how you live your life. Think of your mornings like wet cement. Whatever impressions you press into it, the stress, the chaos, the scrolling, the rush, those are the shapes that harden into the hours that follow. But if you press something else into that cement, stillness, gratitude, a little movement, a simple meal, you set a rhythm that echoes long after the morning is gone. The elders who live beyond 90 aren't superhuman. They're just people who let their mornings whisper instead of scream, who let their days open like flowers, slowly instead of like alarms, violently. And the beauty is, you can too. You don't need to move to a village in Greece. You don't need to grow your own food or wake up with the roosters. You just need to reclaim your first moments. So tomorrow, before you reach for your phone, ask yourself, do I want to begin my life today in panic or in peace? Because that single choice made again and again is one of the reasons some people don't just live long. They live well. And that's just the morning. But their secrets don't stop there. The way they eat, the way they move, the way they rest, the way they connect, every piece of their day tells the same story. Longevity is not built in bursts, it's built in rhythms. Section 3. Eating habits. Picture this. It's mid-morning in Okinawa, Japan. The sun is already warming the earth, and 97-year-old Fumiko is setting a small wooden tray on her porch. On it sits a simple bowl of miso soup, steamed vegetables, a little rice, maybe a slice of sweet potato. Nothing fancy, nothing oversized, just enough. As she sits down to eat, she whispers something under her breath. Hara hachi bu. It's an Okinawan phrase that means, stop eating when you're 80% full. Think about that for a second. When was the last time you actually listened to your body's quiet signal that said, enough? Most of us eat until the plate is empty, until the bag is finished, until we feel stuffed, heavy, even guilty. But Fumiko, and millions like her who thrive past 90, stop long before that point. Not because they're dieting, not because they're counting calories, but because they have a different relationship with food. Food as fuel, not escape for. Them, food isn't a reward for surviving the day. It isn't something to numb boredom, loneliness, or stress. Food is nourishment, connection, and respect for the body. In Sardinia, Italy, a 95-year-old shepherd named Giovanni tears a piece of bread, drizzles it with olive oil, and shares it with his grandson. He eats beans, greens, lentils, and just a small piece of cheese or meat when it's available. For him, a meal is not about indulgence, it's about balance, about sharing, about tradition. In Nicoya, Costa Rica, 93-year-old Maria ladles out a hearty bowl of black beans and corn tortillas seasoned with fresh herbs from her garden. She doesn't scroll while she eats. She doesn't rush. She chews slowly, savoring, talking, laughing. For her, food is never just food. It's community. How this reflects back on you. Now, think about your own meals. How often do you eat in silence, eyes glued to a screen? How often do you overfill your plate because your heart is empty? Not your stomach. How often do you rush, barely tasting what you consume? If you're honest, food for many of us has become background noise, something we shove into our bodies while our minds are elsewhere. And yet the elders who live longest flip that completely. Food is foreground. It's honored. It's savored. It's a pause in the day instead of an interruption. The patterns of longevity. Across the world, the longest-lived people share remarkably similar eating habits, mostly plant-based. Vegetables, beans, lentils, whole grains, herbs. Meat is rare, not the centerpiece. Smaller portions. They eat until satisfied, not until stuffed. Seasonal and local. What comes from the earth nearby is what fills the plate. Minimal processed foods. No sugary sodas, no ultra-processed snacks, no chemical-filled meals in plastic wrappers, eating with others. Meals are shared, not rushed alone. It's not a diet. It's not a trend. It's a rhythm, a way of honoring life with every bite. Why it matters? Here's the deeper truth. The way you eat isn't just fueling your body, it's shaping your future. Every rushed meal, every overfilled plate, every moment of eating without awareness is a tiny withdrawal from the bank of your longevity. But every simple, mindful, grateful meal is a deposit, a small act of care that compounds over decades. Think of it this way. You wouldn't pour cheap gas into a car you needed to last 100 years. So why do we treat our bodies that way? The elders who live past 90 don't chase health. They practice it 3 times a day, forkful by forkful. So tonight, when you sit down to eat, pause, breathe, look at your plate. Ask yourself, am I eating to live, or am I living to eat? Because the answer, repeated across decades, may be the difference between a life cut short and a life that stretches beautifully into the 90s and beyond. But food is only part of the story. What truly sustains them isn't just what's on their plates. It's how they move through the hours in between. Their secret isn't intense exercise or punishing regimens. It's something much simpler, woven into every step they take. Section 4. Movement and physical activity. Imagine this. It's late afternoon in Ikaria, a small Greek island where people routinely live past 90. The sun is dipping low, painting the stone walls golden. 91-year-old Eleni ties on her headscarf and heads outside. She isn't going to the gym. She isn't strapping on high-tech running shoes. She's simply walking to her neighbor's house, carrying a basket of figs she picked that morning, her tew. Steps are steady. Her posture isn't perfect, but her body is alive with motion. She laughs when she arrives, embraces her friend, and they sit together sipping tea. To Eleni, walking isn't exercise, it's life, it's community, it's rhythm, movement. Without a gym, here's the secret. The people who live past 90 don't work out. At least, not the way we think of it. They don't drag themselves to gyms filled with machines. They don't punish their bodies with extreme regimens. They don't see movement as a chore. Instead, they live in environments where movement is natural, constant, and joyful. They walk everywhere, to visit a friend, to the market, to church, to tend to the fields. They garden, bending, digging, carrying, planting. They cook by hand, kneading dough, chopping vegetables, fetching water. They care for their homes, sweeping, hanging laundry, fixing what breaks. Their activity isn't separate from life. It is life. A mirror. Back to you now, compare this to your own days. How many hours do you spend sitting, at a desk, in a car, on a couch? How often do you move your body only in short, intense bursts, if at all, while the rest of the day you're completely still? Think about how unnatural this is. Your body wasn't designed to sit in chairs for 8, 10, 12 hours. It wasn't designed to only come alive for 30 minutes in a gym before collapsing back into stillness. No wonder so many of us feel stiff, tired, weighed down. We've turned movement into a task on a checklist instead of a thread woven through our lives. The longevity rhythm centenarians show us a different model. Move naturally. No extremes, no overthinking. Just walking, gardening, household work, daily motion. Move often. Not once a day in a block, but all day long in little ways. Move with purpose. Not abstract reps or miles, but actions tied to living. Cooking, cleaning, visiting, caring. Move joyfully. Dancing, singing while working, laughing with friends while walking. Why this matters, think of your body as a river. If it flows constantly, gently, it stays clear, vibrant, alive. But if it stagnates, hours of stillness, days of no motion, the water grows cloudy, heavy, unhealthy. The elders who live past 90 keep their rivers flowing, not with force, not with violence, but with constant, small currents of movement. And here's the beautiful part. You don't have to overhaul your life to borrow this habit. You can start by walking while you take a phone call, by cooking dinner from scratch instead of ordering out, by planting something, even a single herb in a pot, that gives you a reason to water, tend, harvest. Longevity isn't hiding in an expensive gym membership. It's in the simple act of moving your body like it was meant to move, often, gently, with joy. But movement alone doesn't explain their long lives. There's another secret, quieter, but just as powerful. It has nothing to do with muscles or steps, and everything to do with the heart and mind. The elders who live the longest aren't just active, they're also deeply, profoundly at peace. Section 5. Rest, relaxation, and stress release. Picture this. It's midday in Okinawa. The cicadas hum in the background, the air is warm, and the streets are quiet. Inside her home, 93-year-old Keiko sets down her sewing, closes her eyes, and rests. Not for long. Just a short nap. 20, maybe 30 minutes. She doesn't feel guilty about it. She doesn't call herself lazy. She doesn't fight her body's signals with coffee or energy drinks. She simply rests, trusting that rest is not a weakness, but a rhythm. The forgotten art of rest. Here's the thing. The people who live past 90 don't treat stress the way we do. They don't bottle it up until it explodes. They don't wear exhaustion like a badge of honor. They don't glorify busyness or see sleep as optional. Instead, they weave rest into the fabric of their days. In Ikaria, elders gather for long, unhurried lunches, followed by a short nap before returning to work. In Sardinia, men pause to play cards or sip wine with friends in the afternoon, letting their minds soften. In Nicoya, families swing in hammocks, resting in the shade before heading back to their chores. It's not about escaping life. It's about balancing it. How this reflects on you now. Think about your own life. When was the last time you gave yourself permission to rest without guilt? To take a nap without calling it unproductive? To sit in silence without grabbing your phone to fill the space? Most of us are addicted to busyness. We equate rest with failure, as if slowing down means we're falling behind. But here's the uncomfortable truth. It's not the stress itself that kills us. It's the lack of release. Centenarians experience stress just like you. They lose loved ones. They face hardships. They worry about the future. The difference is, they don't let stress stay trapped. They let it flow through rituals of rest, prayer, laughter, naps, and connection. The patterns of longevity, across cultures, you'll find similar habits. Short naps or breaks. Not indulgent, just a natural reset. Daily rituals of calm. Prayer, meditation, breathing, tea time, or a quiet walk. Unhurried meals. Eating slowly, allowing digestion and conversation to stretch. Time in nature. Letting the body and mind recalibrate with the rhythm of the earth. It's less about what they do, and more about the message their lives send. Rest is not wasted time. It is what makes the rest of life possible. Why this matters, imagine your life like a bow. If you pull it back too tight, too long, it will eventually snap. But if you learn to loosen it, to release tension regularly, it can shoot arrows far and true for decades. That's what centenarians understand instinctively. Rest isn't the opposite of productivity. It's the foundation of it. Without rest, the body wears down. With rest, it endures. So the question isn't, do you have time to rest? The real question is, how much of your life are you losing by refusing to? And yet, even rest, food, and movement only tell part of the story. Because if you look closely, the real fuel of long life is not just in what they eat or how they sleep. It's in who they share their lives with, their connections, their families, their friendships. Section 6. social bonds, and relationships. Imagine a village square in Sardinia. The sun is setting, painting the walls of stone houses in warm orange. A group of men in their 80s and 90s sit together at a worn wooden table. They're laughing, not politely, not softly, but with the kind of deep, unrestrained laughter that shakes the chest and makes the eyes water. Around them, children play. Women chat as they prepare dinner nearby. Everyone belongs to someone. No one is truly alone. Now think about that for a moment. Because for most of us, that picture feels almost foreign. The longevity of belonging, when researchers studied the world's longest living people, they found something remarkable. Strong social bonds are as essential to longevity as food and movement. In Okinawa, groups of lifelong friends called moai meet daily, sharing tea, conversation, and support. If someone falls ill, the group steps in. If someone is struggling financially, the group helps. Loneliness is rare because community is expected. In Nicoya, Costa Rica, elders live in multi-generational homes. Grandparents help raise grandchildren, and in return, the younger generation ensures the elders are never left behind. In Ikaria, Greece, no one eats alone. Meals stretch into hours of laughter, wine, music, and storytelling. Life isn't measured by productivity. It's measured by connection. A mirror. Back to you now. Pause and look at your own life. How many of your meals this week did you eat alone, hunched over a screen? When was the last time you called a friend just to talk, not because you needed something? Do you know your neighbors' names? Do they know yours? Loneliness has been called the epidemic of our time. And the cruel irony is, we're more connected than ever. But scrolling through feeds doesn't fill the human need for touch, for eye contact, for shared silence, for presence. Deep down, you know this. You've felt it. The ache of sitting in a crowded room but feeling invisible. The hunger for someone to ask, "How are you really?" and to stay long enough to hear the answer. The daily rhythms of connection centenarians don't schedule social time. They live inside it. Their connections are built into the architecture of daily life. Shared meals, eating together, every day without distraction, neighborhood ties, doors open, neighbors dropping in, community woven into daily rhythms, family bonds. Elders not tucked away but honored, included, depended on. Friendship groups, lifelong circles of support, meeting daily or weekly. These aren't special occasions. They're everyday life. Why this matters? You can eat the healthiest. Diet, move every day, sleep 8 hours. But if your heart is lonely, your body feels it. Studies show loneliness increases the risk of early death as much as smoking or obesity. It weighs on the immune system, the heart, the mind. But connection heals. It softens the nervous system, lowers stress, sparks joy. It gives you a reason to wake up, a reason to keep going, a reason to care for yourself. Think of it this way. Food fuels the body, but love fuels the soul. And without love, without belonging, life itself loses flavor. So ask yourself, who are my people? Who would sit at the table with me when I'm 90? And if that table feels empty right now, maybe the most important step toward a long life isn't in what you eat or how you move. It's in how you reach out. Because at the end of the day, longevity isn't measured in years. It's measured in how many hands you can hold when the years finally catch up. But there's one more secret these long-lived souls carry. It's not just their food, their rest, or their friendships. It's something deeper, something invisible, but powerful. It's the reason they wake up each morning with light still in their eyes. It's their sense of purpose. Section 7. Mindset and Purpose. Let me take you to Okinawa for a moment. There's a 98-year-old man named Haru who wakes up each morning before the sun. His body isn't as strong as it once was. His steps are slower, his hands a little shaky. But when he rises, He doesn't groan about another day of aches or sigh that he's too old. Instead, he puts on his work clothes, picks up his fishing net, and walks down to the shore. Why? Because he still has purpose. He still feels needed. He still believes his life has meaning beyond simply existing. In Okinawa, they have a word for this, ikigai. It means a reason to wake up in the morning, a reason to live. The power of why. When researchers asked centenarians what kept them alive so long, many of them didn't mention diet or exercise. They mentioned purpose. A grandmother in Nicoya said she lived to watch her great-grandchildren grow. A 97-year-old farmer in Sardinia said his joy was tending his sheep because they still needed him. A 102-year-old woman in Icaria said she kept making bread for her neighbors because feeding others fed her soul. None of these purposes would make headlines. They weren't grand missions. They were simple human reasons to keep showing up every day. A mirror. Back to you now. Pause and look inward. What is your purpose right now? Do you even know? Maybe you wake up for work, but does your work give you meaning or just money? Maybe you wake up for obligations, but do they light you up or weigh you down? Or maybe you've been waking up on autopilot, without any reason at all beyond survival. And if you're honest, that emptiness feels heavier than anything. Because here's the truth. Your body can survive without purpose, but your soul cannot. Without it, days blur, energy fades, and life loses its spark. The longevity mindset across. Every culture of longevity, you find the same mindset. Gratitude. They see life as a gift, even in hardship. Resilience. They've endured wars, loss, poverty, and yet they adapt. They keep going. Simplicity. They don't chase endless more. They take joy in what's near, what's small, what's present. Faith or spirituality. Whether through prayer, ritual, or quiet belief, they carry a sense of belonging to something bigger. Purpose. They know who they are needed by and why they still matter. Why this matters, imagine a candle. Food is the wax. Movement is the oxygen. Rest is the flame's protection from the wind. But purpose? Purpose is the wick. Without it, the flame can't catch at all. That's what centenarians remind us. Long life isn't just about keeping the body alive. It's about keeping the spirit alive, and the spirit stays alive through purpose. And here's the good news. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to solve the world's problems or become someone famous. Your purpose might be as simple as tending a garden, loving your family, making art, serving tea, or showing kindness in a world that forgets it. The size of your purpose doesn't matter. The presence of it does. So ask yourself, if you lived to 90, what reason would still pull you out of bed in the morning? What would keep your eyes shining when your body grows frail? Because in the end, the body will weaken. But the heart that beats for something bigger, that heart can carry you through a century. And when the day winds down, there's one last rhythm these long-lived souls follow. A rhythm that closes the circle. How they end their day is as important as how they begin it. Their evenings aren't filled with noise or screens, but with rituals of rest, family, and peace. Section 8. Evening routines and sleep picture, a quiet street in Icaria. The sun has dipped below the horizon, and the air carries the scent of herbs and wood smoke. Inside a small stone house, a family gathers around a table. Bread is torn, wine is poured, stories are shared. The laughter is gentle now, softer than it was in the afternoon. The day is closing, not with haste, but with grace. And when the meal is over, no one rushes to turn on a glowing screen. No one scrolls endlessly in the dark. Instead, they step outside. They look at the stars. They breathe in the night air. and slowly, they prepare to rest. The rhythm of night centenarians understands something we've forgotten. The day doesn't end when work ends. It ends when the soul is ready to let go. Across the blue zones, you'll see similar patterns. Unhurried. Evenings. Meals shared slowly, filled with conversation, music, sometimes dancing. No bright screens. Instead, they live by the rhythm of natural light. The sun sets, lamps are dim, the body prepares for sleep. Gentle rituals. A cup of tea, a prayer, a story told to a grandchild. Deep rest. Most sleep 7 to 8 hours naturally, waking without alarms. It's not about perfect sleep hygiene or high-tech mattresses. It's about aligning with the natural cycles of life. The sun, the body, the heart. A mirror. Back to you now. Think about how you end your days. Do you collapse into bed after hours of scrolling, your mind buzzing with noise? Do you fall asleep with the TV on, light flickering against your tired eyes? Do you eat late, work late, and then wonder why you wake up exhausted? Most of us treat sleep like an inconvenience, something we have to squeeze in. But centenarians treat it like sacred maintenance, an essential rhythm that restores the body, heals the mind, and lengthens the years. The secret of sleep isn't wasted time. It's life being extended behind closed eyes. While you sleep, your body repairs cells, clears toxins, restores memory. While you sleep, your heart slows, your blood pressure lowers, your immune system strengthens. While you sleep, your mind processes grief, joy, and learning, preparing you to face a new day. Centenarians aren't obsessed with sleep. They simply respect it. They go to bed when tired, wake with the sun, and let the body's natural intelligence guide them. Why this matters? Imagine your body as a village. During the day, everyone is working, hauling water, baking bread, tending fields. But at night, that's when the village restores itself. The streets are swept, the fires cooled, the wells refilled. Without this nightly restoration, the village crumbles. Your body is no different. Without sleep, your health, memory, and even your longevity wear down like an abandoned town. With it, you not only live longer, you live clearer, calmer, stronger. So, ask yourself, how would my life change if I ended each day with intention? If instead of falling into restless exhaustion, you close the day with a ritual that told your body and soul, you have done enough. Now rest. Because the truth is, a long life isn't built only in the mornings. It's built in the nights. 2. In the quiet surrender that allows tomorrow to come. Conclusion and call to reflection. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine yourself at 90. Where are you sitting? Who is beside you? What fills your day? Are you surrounded by family, your home warm with laughter and stories? Or do you feel the quiet ache of time gone too fast, wondering where it all went? This isn't a distant question. It's not about someday. It's about right now, because the life you'll live at 90 is being built today, in the choices you make, the rhythms you keep, the love you give or withhold. Echoes of elderly wisdom. The elders who've lived beyond 90 all seem to whisper the same truths. Don't rush through the mornings. The sun is more beautiful than you think. Eat slowly. Food is not just fuel, it's love, it's memory, it's connection. Move your body every day. If you can walk, walk. If you can stretch, stretch. Do what you can, but never stop. Don't lock yourself away. Find your people. Sit with them. Laugh with them. Lean on them. Life is too heavy to carry alone. Rest. You've done enough for today. Tomorrow will come. And perhaps the deepest one of all. Love something, love someone, love life itself, and let that love be the reason you keep going. These are not complicated lessons. They are simple, but simplicity is what we often overlook in our chase for more. A mirror. Back to you. So now, the question turns back to you. What would change if you began living with these small, quiet rituals of longevity? Not tomorrow. Not when it's convenient. But today? What if you treated your meals like ceremonies, your friendships like lifelines, your mornings like gifts, your nights like sanctuaries? What if you sought purpose not in someday, but in this very moment? Because the truth is, longevity isn't about reaching 90 or 100. It's about making the years you have feel alive, so that whether you live to 60 or 100, you have lived fully. Imagine a long table, filled with elders in their 90s and beyond. Their hands are wrinkled, their backs bent, but their eyes, oh, their eyes, still shine with mischief and tenderness. They raise their glasses, they share their bread, and they laugh like children who never forgot how. And you are there too. Not as an outsider, not as a curious visitor, but as one of them, with a life behind you that feels whole, with stories worth telling, with love worth remembering. That future is not a fantasy. It's a possibility, and it begins with how you live today. So take a breath, look around you, and ask yourself the simplest, most important question of all. When I am 90, what echoes of wisdom will my life be leaving behind?